Good day, everybody. It is Kyle here from UPLP Group. Hope everybody is enjoying watching the series, Built From Nothing. This is episode 5. We're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about our first million we made, our first jobs that were $1 million plus, the size of jobs we're doing today, biggest contracts we've done, and some of the good years, the bad years. This is going to be an episode that you're not going to want to miss. So I guess we'll talk about the first million I made. Or I guess it wasn't the first million I made, but the first $1 million job I did. I think it was back in 2014. 2014 or 2013. It was one of the first years we did Canada Blooms. And a client walked in, started talking to me. Very end of the show, it was like a Thursday evening. He comes in, gives me his name, and goes, "Hey, I need a big project done." And at the time, the person that was standing there with me, they're like, "Oh, that guy doesn't have it. He doesn't have money, blah, blah, blah." And I said, no, this guy, he's got it. Like, this is the job that we want to go to, we want to check out. And they didn't believe it. They thought he was full of it. Fast forward a couple weeks later, I meet him. His house is, I think, between 20 and 25,000 square feet. And he shows up, tells me what he wants to do. It's like 15 or 20,000 square feet of interlock, retaining walls. All the retaining walls were on concrete. It was a cool job. We could probably pull some pictures up and show you. I think the pool there was 30 by 60. The outdoor kitchen was 20 by 40. There were multiple seating areas. And we actually got to the end of that job, and the client goes, we were supposed to be putting in a tennis court. The client says to us, "Hey man, do you think we could fit a double tennis court?" And I looked at him and I went, "Hey, like, what do you want a double tennis court for? Do your kids actually play tennis?" Because the whole time we were building the job, client keeps saying to us, "I'm putting in this big pool, but my kids don't swim. I'm putting in a kitchen out here and nobody's gonna cook on it." It was just, he wanted to have the coolest stuff. So I said, "Okay, no problem. Like, do your kids actually play? You want a double tennis court? Maybe they actually go out there." And he looks at me and he points at his neighbor. He goes, "My neighbor can get the same size pool. He can get the same size outdoor kitchen, but he does not have room for a double tennis court. I win." And that was that. That was my first introduction to super high-end clients that just don't care about money. They want what they want, and it was an explosion of our company. It definitely helped. It kind of catapulted us into another league of projects that we were doing, and it was great for us at the time. Like, I was young at that point. I was still, I guess, early 20s, and it definitely helped get us to where we are today. So that was my first million and $1 million plus project. Now there's been multiples after, and I will say pricing my first $1 million project was scary, to say the least. I remember starting out from the beginning and pricing projects that were $5,000, $10,000, even from the beginning pricing stuff that was $100 and $200, and sitting there being like, "Oh man, like, I don't want to lose money," and then getting into $5,000 and kind of being nervous that if I screw up, if the person's going to say yes, like, "Oh, are they okay with me spending $5,000 or $10,000 of their money?" And then it progressed into 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And I remember specifically the first project I priced that was $100K plus. And I was sitting there and I'm writing out the numbers and I'm adding everything up and I'm looking at the material list and I'm looking at how long I think it's gonna take me. And I'm shaking and I'm like, is this right? Am I gonna lose money? Am I gonna make money? And the whole time I'm like, do I send the quote? Do I not send the quote? What do I do? What do I do? We got the job, we made money, And now, like, we fast forward years down the road, 10, I think it's been probably close to 15 years now that we've been pricing stuff well over 100K. And now we can walk into a project that's $1 million K plus, $2 million, and kind of just look at the space and go, hey, yeah, you know, you're looking at 750K, or you're looking at $1 million, or you're looking at $1.5 million. And you just build that confidence about you and know kind of what the stuff is worth and how much money you need to make. And you can kind of base it off of how much money you need to make in a day, or how much your crews average a day, and then you think it's going to take you 20 days. And if your crews have to make $10,000 a day, then you go, okay, yeah, you know, that crew is going to be there for 20 days. It's going to be 200K. If they're going to be there for longer than that, or your crew has to make 20K a day, all right, it's a $400,000 project. And it's just became so much easier over the years. And for the most part, we never lose money on jobs anymore. We are very, very good at kind of being thorough on our pricing and knowing what stuff costs and making sure that there's a profit in it for us. So that's definitely a big part of this business, is just knowing your numbers. And I will say, between me and Cody, is we're numbers people. So we know everything down to the last penny. When you talk about our concrete company, then like we know how much it costs for admix to go into the concrete, or we know how much 1 yard of sand is going in, and how much it costs to produce just 1 meter of concrete. Where I've talked to numerous people in the same industry, and they have no clue their numbers. They don't know how much their insurance costs. They don't know how much their materials cost. They go, oh, I don't deal with that. Somebody else in the company does. And in my experience with every business we've owned, and very successful businesses that I've talked to in the past, the owners are still super involved, especially in the construction industry. If you're not super involved, you're not paying attention, you don't know your numbers, then everything gets ahead of you. You don't know how much you're spending on labor. You don't know how much you're spending on materials. And then it just spirals out of control, especially when you're not working by the hour. So definitely watch your expenses. Be confident. Be open. And don't be afraid to tell a customer your thought. We win a lot of jobs just because we're open with customers and we tell them things. If I don't like the way that you had something designed, if we didn't design it, I'll tell you. We have clients all the time. They try to put outdoor kitchens hundreds and hundreds of feet from their back door. And you start talking to them and you go, hey, do you guys grill in the winter? And they go, yeah, that's why we're putting in an outdoor kitchen. And I go, okay, well, why are you putting it at the back of your property? They go, oh, well, you know, that's where we usually hang out in the summer. And I go, okay, well, if you want to grill in the winter, are you going to truck everything back there? Well, no, usually our barbecue's by the door. So we tell them, hey, yeah, you know, like the design doesn't fit what you should be doing. So we're very functional people. We always kind of take your money. If you give us a budget and we treat it as our own, we want to kind of put our heart and our soul into these jobs and make it feel like it's, not that it's our backyard, it's personalized for you, obviously, but we've been doing it a long time. I think we have pretty good opinions on where stuff fits and how it should look and how it should go. And most of our clients, to be honest, we pick the stone, we pick the coping. If we're designing the backyard for the most part, we do a lot of the design choices, and we don't ever have any customers that are upset with it. They're always happy with the stone we choose. And most of the projects we do, as you've seen on our page, they're timeless. They last forever, and they keep looking good for years to come. So I guess on to the next thing, which is, what are we going to talk about next? Hiring, marketing, systems. Systems. That's probably the hardest thing to implement in a hardscape or a construction company. We're pretty good at managing people. We're pretty good, I think, at the systems that we do have in place. But I know over the last couple years, there's been a lot of influencers and a lot of people on social media that keep talking about build systems and have your company run for you, and you shouldn't be working in your business, you should be working on your business. I call bullshit on it all. There are very few businesses out there now, especially in the construction industry, that if the owners aren't directly involved, they're operating smoothly, they're profitable, they're doing well. It's not like it was years ago, and this isn't directed towards the companies that have been around for 30 years. Because some of these bigger companies that have started 40, 50 years ago, yeah, they have systems in place and people in place that took more initiative, and it's not the systems that were working, it's the people that were working. So I think, yes, you can put some systems in place. We use a lot of systems for different things. We use Connect Teams for our guys to clock in. We use Job Tread to kind of manage projects and make sure timelines are working well. We use that for our bidding on projects and sending quotes out to clients. And it's similar, like it has signing authority right in there. We can do change orders and whatnot in there. In our office, we have a thing called Key Cafe. It manages all our keys. So basically every key is tracked in and out every single day. So these are some of the systems that we found that helped us immensely to just keep track of the small things. But the systems to take yourself right out of the work is very hard. Me and Cody looked at it, we went through numbers, and we went, hey, you know, for myself, it was approximately, we would have to do $700K in extra profit a year and have 7 people kind of handle my role, getting paid $100K a year to be able to do the same style of work and get everything done that I do in a day. So we tried it for a little bit, went, hey, you know, it's very risky having 7 more people and a lot of wages and a lot of money going out, and me in the background kind of. So here I am, I'm back on site, as you can see. I don't spend every day on site now, obviously. Like, I'm in the office, I'm on site, I make sure stuff is going well. But it's a lot cheaper for us, and we make a lot more money when I'm there, and everything just flows a lot smoother. So that's what we found worked for us, and obviously you guys got to find what works for you guys. The next topic we're going to talk about, let's see here. Cash flow. Cash flow is big in this industry. Obviously you have, if you're not doing snow removal, most companies have 6 good months that they're working, and then you get 6 months off in the winter. That's there's not a whole lot of money coming in and out. So obviously you have to have enough cash flow to get you through in the winter, kind of keep you going into the spring. And we find a lot of companies eat well in the summer, and they're not good at managing their cash flow. So winter hits, and they have to start liquidating equipment and liquidating assets to make sure that they get through. And then come to the spring, they start dropping their pants on jobs. they'll go, hey, you know, I have no work, I have no money, I need to get working. And they'll take jobs that are, say, 100 plus K or 200K, and they'll take them and do them for 60,000, where there's almost zero profit or they're in the negative on them, but they're getting that 50% deposit up front. So they have 30K in cash to kind of get themselves going, even though they're going to lose money. And the longer you do that for, the deeper of a hole you get in. So I will say we've been very good. I mean, I think we're getting close here to 20 years. I think it's 18 or 19 years here. We've been good at managing money. So our cash flow just keeps on going. As you guys know, we just actually bought our first real commercial property in Orangeville on Shannon Court. And when we had to buy that property, they actually made us get a line of credit. We never had a line of credit before. We operated on the cash that we had, and we've always done good. So now we have a line of credit. We still haven't touched it. We haven't used it. We just operate on what we have. And the best piece of advice I got, hands down, from anybody since the day I started, is don't get credit. And I know that's a hard piece of advice in this day and age where the banks are ready to throw money at you, and you can look like a big company because you have a whole bunch of stuff, but when your payments become the same amount as you're making or more than you're making, and you're struggling every day, and you're working 100 hours a week and you're just burning at the end, then having these payments aren't beneficial. So like I said, the best piece of advice my dad ever gave me, this was from my dad, is in the business that you're in, don't get credit. Do not get credit for the first 10 years. Get yourself through that hump, establish yourself with some cash flow. And now, like, as we've grown, we've opened the concrete company, the excavation side. Yeah, we have credit now. We're a couple years here from being debt-free again. And even for myself, like, having the credit now, it burns me because, like, it was just easier not having any payments. When I wake up in the morning, I know what's in my account, nothing comes out. Now, it doesn't matter whether I go to work or I don't go to work, money still comes out. So, whereas before, if I stopped working, then I stopped working. Everything's paid for. The only thing that would come out is insurance and gas if I was going somewhere. But now we have payments on some trucks and stuff for lease, and obviously for financial help, because if you don't put leases on stuff, then you end up paying the government more money. So, but if you can do it, try your best to do this business or any business you can do and stay as debt-free as possible. I guarantee you'll be happier, you'll have less stress, and definitely makes it a lot easier. What else are we going to talk about here today? Good years, bad years. So I guess I don't like to look at things as bad. I always look at them, you got to always look in the positive. But I will say, financially, the last 2 years we took a hell of a hit. 2 years ago now, our secretary and bookkeeper stole $750K from us. Money got shipped overseas. We didn't catch it until the money was gone. Obviously, that's going to be a story here for another day, but that was tough. I think 2 years ago was probably the lowest point in my life. $750K gone out of our accounts. That was pretty much most of our savings and cash flow that we had accumulated for years. That was the money that paid for my kids to have fun, paid for my brother's kids to have fun, our families to kind of keep going. And it was gone in the blink of an eye. And there wasn't a whole lot we could do. We tried fighting for it, but it was gone overseas and we couldn't do a whole lot. We will tell this story in another episode. But yeah, that was probably our darkest days. Thinking, how do we do it? How do we get ourselves through? I think if it would have happened, this happened in July or August 2 years ago, I believe it was. If it probably would have happened in December or January, it might have bankrupted us. It was definitely a kick in the teeth. It was tough. At the same time that happened, we had some stuff go on at our house, and as you knew before, our shop was at our house. The town let us build an 8,000 square foot building at our house, and we've operated out of there for numerous years, I think 7 or 8 years. And we pay commercial property taxes. Our property taxes are almost 30 grand a year. And they dropped us off some papers, a big book, said they're taking us to federal court, and they weren't letting us operate out of our house anymore. They said, we're not zoned commercial, and if we want to go for a rezoning, we can try, but we can't operate out of there while we can. And yeah, that was the toughest year that we've ever had. So we ended up having to find another property. We got told that we had to be out by October of last year, and obviously that's when we bought Shannon Court. And in the midst of the whole thing, we found Shannon Court. We put a deposit on. The old owners that we were buying it from gave us a clean environmental, which was great. Everything looked good. Then we went to get our financing. The finance company found out that the company who gave the environmental was caught in some fraud before, and they wanted us to do a new environmental because they were sure that there was maybe contamination on the property. So in the midst of everything going on, we started getting a new environmental, and then the property we were purchasing, the old owners stopped paying on it because they didn't have money, and the property started to go into foreclosure. When it went into foreclosure, we got a letter because obviously we were a lien holder on the property because we were purchasing it. And the only way we could get out of them losing the property and us not being able to buy it was to release our deposit. So we've never bought big commercial property before. We didn't know what was going on. We talked to our lawyer, and what they told us is, yes, we can release it, but there's a risk that if we release the money and something happens, that money might be gone. Well, we took the risk. We released the $200,000 to the owner of the property and went, okay, yeah, get yourself out of debt, get yourself good, get the property back in good standing so we can finish this deal. And in the midst of that, they took our money and they left and went back to India. And they paid part of the loan off, so it bought us a little bit of time. But from then on, it took about 6 weeks before we could get in touch with anybody. We had lien holders kind of knocking on us saying that it's still going into foreclosure. And here we are freaking out thinking we're losing our money. We just lost $750K from our secretary and bookkeeper, and now we're gonna lose our $250,000 or $280,000 deposit on the property. So once everything kind of came back, they ended up coming back from India because they had other financial commitments here as well. We got a clean environmental. But in the midst of this, the finance company told us that now, because there's some risk on the property and it didn't close, it was supposed to close in July. Fast forward, this is now November. They went from us having to put down $380,000 on the property to $980,000 they wanted down on the property. So obviously, as I told you, we lost $750K. It was a struggle. coming up with almost another $750K to close on the property with no other choice. We contacted anybody who owed us money. Obviously, we had some receivables and we collected them. We closed on the property, we got through, and here we are now. We're still standing, we're still kicking. Obviously, we're growing. Permits on the property are getting closer. Site plan's almost through now. We just got our final geological study done, and we're hoping to have site plan approval here within another 3 or 4 weeks. And then permits will go in and we'll start getting that foundation in before winter, hopefully. So I will say adversity builds character, that's for sure. No matter what happens, we've always just kept pushing through. Some days it's hard to wake up and be like, hey, you know, we lost a lot of money. We've worked for years to make that kind of money and it's just gone in a blink of an eye. So definitely you gotta just keep on being motivated, waking up and showing up. And even on the days that you're sitting there and you're like, hey man, I really don't wanna go today, I don't wanna do it, get your ass out of bed. Get your ass out of bed, get there, do it, and you'll be happy later. There's not many times that people call in sick for work that they're actually sick. I call them sick and tired. They're tired of waking up in the morning, they're tired of going to work. And yeah, it's tough, but like I said, adversity builds character, and I think if you're willing to put in the work and to get through things and build on them, I think anything's possible. As you can see, like, we've gone through a lot in the last year and a half, and we're still here. We're on one of the bigger jobs that we've dealt with here. We're building a big commercial spa in Mississauga. This is going to be a cool job, I will say that. I know I say that on a lot of jobs, that these are going to be cool, but this place here is going to be one of the biggest spas, I think, probably in Ontario. That's in the community. It's not far away here in Mississauga. You're going to want to check it out when it's done. So I know the series isn't on that, but maybe we'll throw a few clips in of us working in here. We got 9 indoor pools and 3 outdoor pools going in on this project. So you're not gonna wanna miss it. Again, Kyle here, built from nothing, but here we are. This is everything.